Wellness Show, episode 87.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. So welcome to the Wellness Show, and on the call today, we have Molly Wentzel, and she's from New York, is it Manhattan?
Long Island.
Long Island. And she's a certified holistic confidence and wellness coach and a Reiki master. And she helps people learn to love themselves and gain confidence so that they can be happy, empowered, and confident. As she says, I help people release self-destructive habits and old traumas so they can move forward with vibrancy and self-worth. So welcome to the show. So
Thank you so much.
How did you get into this whole area? How did you get into the wellness field?
Sure. So I actually used to work at this crazy busy startup. It really threw my whole life out of balance. I worked really long hours. I had to be on the road a lot, so I ate a lot of really bad food, and I didn't have a lot of time to rest and recharge. And after about a year and a half of working in that environment, I just knew I couldn't keep going. Like, my body was shutting down. My mental and emotional wellness was just shattered. I was just miserable to be around, essentially. I knew I had to make a big change, and I knew I always liked living holistically and naturally. And I stumbled upon this coaching program, and I signed up, and I loved it. And I knew this was going to help me change lives. And essentially, I thought my problem was just being overworked, but my real problem was low confidence and low self-esteem. And that's why I chose to be a confidence coach. I know how hard it is to struggle with those issues, and I know how it affects the rest of your life. And I just really want to help as many people as possible learn to love themselves so they can see how the world just opens up to you after you make that change.
Oh, great. So yeah, confidence is a big one. You know, our success, as you know, is completely dependent on how confident we are and how we project that into the world. I mean, it's a vibrational match. So how did you become confident? What sort of things did you do for yourself that then led you to be able to want to coach others to do the same?
Yeah, so I did a lot of reassessing. I reassessed who my friends were. I reassessed my career, which I already knew was a problem. I reassessed, where I was living, who I surrounded myself with, my habits. And once you have this awareness of what you're doing to attract these people, or what you're doing that's self-destructive or negative or self-sabotaging, it's really hard to ignore those things. Like, once you know it, you can't ignore it. So I just became aware of my own habits and patterns, and I was able to then install new patterns, positive behaviors, things that would actually help me rather than hinder me. And it just has completely changed my life. I've read a lot of self-improvement books, a lot of podcast listening. I did a lot of different things. But I would say step one is just being aware of who you are and how you carry yourself, and how you interact with others in your world.
So when you say self-assessment, did you sort of come up with a self-assessment sort of criteria that you look at your life, or was it just inner reflection, or did you do it through meditation, or how did you do this? I mean, for some people that is like, what does she mean as self-assessment?
Right. Yes. So for me, when I was going through it, it really was just reflection and meditation. Like, I would leave certain people, and instead of feeling happy and excited and just loved, I would feel really drained and really down on myself. And I would notice those feelings, and I would have to learn, okay, maybe I can't really be around these people as much as I used to, or I have to cut them out completely. But now I've created a program where there's specific steps, like there's specific assignments and activities that you do to help you reassess. So for me, I was just kind of blindly stumbling around, and I found my way. But I've created a way for people to have an organized step-by-step way of doing it. That way you don't have to stumble around like I did.
Great. So from beginning to end, to boost your self-confidence and, get yourself under under control, so to speak, in a new way, in a positive way. How long does it take you to move a client from where they are to where they want to be?
Right. So I offer several different programs. The most common is 3 months, and the transformation just between session 1 to session 12 is incredible. Now, granted, 3 months is a very short amount of time to be changing these behaviors that people have had for decades. But in those 3 months, people get these tools and these strategies to really help them learn to be on their own. So I like to say that I'm somebody's training wheels. For 3 months, you have me as your training wheels, helping you and guiding you and giving you these tools. And then after those 3 months, you're on your own to kind of utilize those tools and really implement them and learn to change your behaviors on your own.
Great. So I bet you people on the call are wondering, well, what does she mean about tools? So could you give us an example of one of the tools?
Sure. I would say the most simple one, but really, really effective, is really being self-aware about the things that you love about yourself. So many people have low self-esteem because they just focus on their negatives. And everybody has negatives. We're all humans. We have good things and bad things. But people with low confidence really focus on the negative things.
Mm-hmm.
So the number one tool that I give to people is just you either write down or you say out loud things that you love about yourself. And again, that sounds simple and it sounds cheesy, but it is so effective. And just after doing that activity every day for a few weeks, it reprograms your brain and your mindset to focus on the good things rather than focus on the negatives. Like I said, we all have negatives. They're always going to be there. You have to choose what you focus on.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And, none of this is rocket science, but it's true that when you do focus on the positive and you do it, they say it takes 21 days to change a habit. And you do that for 21 days, guess what? Your life changes. It's really
exactly
quite, miraculous. And get what? We get to change our lives ourselves. It's powerful stuff that you're doing. So what's another one?
Another one is actually really, really powerful, and it is part of my new program. It's an apology letter to yourself.
Wow.
And that is something, that's one of the most powerful things that I help people do. A lot of people are looking for validation in other people and material things and more jobs, whatever it is. They're looking for happiness and validation outside of themselves. What they don't realize is they can give that validation to themselves. And they can just sit down and write out, I'm sorry for being so hard on yourself. I'm sorry for being, really critical. I'm sorry for always being negative and putting myself down, all of these different things. And it really, really helps people unlock those really negative and bitter feelings they have towards themselves. I fully believe that writing is extremely powerful. Seeing those words is way different than just saying them in your mind. And that is something that really helps people get jump started on the track to self-healing and self-love.
Well, did they do that in the first person? How do they do that? I mean, is it journaling? Do they catch themselves when they're having, low self-esteem and then journal it? Or how do you have them do that?
Yes. So after a session, so I do about an hour session with each person. And when I give that assignment, I say you have the next week until our next session to do it. So they can choose to do it all at once, or they can choose the route that you're saying where they catch themselves being negative or, not liking themselves very much. And then they can choose to write a part of that letter in that moment. So really it's up to them, whatever is going to work best for them. Because everybody's different. Even though the tools all work the same, how you implement it and use it for yourself is going to be unique.
Right.
So really, they have a full week to do however they need to do it.
So why do you think that we are really have so much trouble around self-confidence and lack of self-esteem? What is it in our way of living our lives that causes us to really be so hard on ourselves?
I think in today's world, it's the internet. I truly think it's social media. I think we've always kind of had these struggles within ourselves of, everybody, like I said, they have qualities that they like and they don't like, but social media is really amplifying those things that people don't like about themselves. And it's because they're constantly comparing their life to other people. And the problem with social media is that people are only putting the best things in their lives on social media, right? Nobody's ever putting the really bad things or the fights or, the struggle to pay your bills or, just not really liking your job or whatever. It's all the good things. So people are comparing their life to somebody's like photoshopped life, if that makes sense. They're comparing themselves to this fake, unreal, glamorous life of people on social media, and it really is tearing down our self-confidence.
Yeah, that's interesting because, the social media, and certainly in the younger age group, has really become quite vicious for some of them, where they're actually almost tearing each other apart. So it's interesting.
Right.
One age group is, in La La Land, isn't this wonderful, and saying, sending pictures of kittens or whatever,
Yeah.
And the other age group is using it as a way of attacking people, as an attempt to have some sense of self-worth by criticizing others. So it's interesting how this tool is really, that could really bring us together in a very positive way, in a new network and a new way of building community, can be quite constructive. So do you do anything around that? Like, do you give tools for how to work with the internet or how to work with social media? I mean, that might be a really interesting module to include in your approach, right?
Yes, no, absolutely. I give the same advice to all of my clients. Limit your time on social media. Block those really negative people, or the people who always are shoving their life in your face. The ones who are always like, oh, got a new car, my life's so great, this and that. Most likely they're just covering something up or compensating for something. I personally do the same thing. I block anybody from my newsfeed that is overbearing or really trying too hard or really just attacking everybody. You really just have to figure out how to surround yourself with really positive people without completely cutting yourself off from the world, because that's just not realistic. And really, the key to the whole thing is just being secure in yourself and really
Absolutely.
realizing that people, there's something missing there. They're not sharing the whole story. So you can't constantly compare yourself to a fraction of the story. So again, it just comes back to being okay with yourself and loving yourself despite your environment.
Yeah, I like that. Of course, the real test for all of this is our family of origin. So, well, how do we deal with that? I mean,
With our family?
Yeah, our family wants to sort of pigeonhole us where we were at 7 or 8, or I don't know, being a teenager or whatever. And they never forget those moments when we goofed up. And they keep wanting to remind us. They want to put us back where we were. And what you're talking about is moving ahead in a whole way of looking at the world. And your family says, oh, no, you haven't changed. You're just the same that you always were. You're my little girl, or whatever the story is. So how do you help people do that? Especially, for example, we're coming up to Christmas. It's not too far away, which for some people is a real gong show. And it shouldn't be. I mean, this is our chance to really connect in a deep level. So how do you help people survive the family reunions?
Ooh, that is a tough question. Family is the most difficult to deal with. You can't choose them, and most likely you love them despite whatever they're trying to, bring you down or bring you back down to earth. It's a double-edged sword. It's a great thing to have a family who's always going to keep you grounded. It's a bad thing if they're always kind of attacking you or saying, kind of berating you for changing or being different than you were, because I truly believe everyone should be changing. Everyone should be different than they were 8 years ago. And if not, then you're probably stagnant and you need to change something.
All right.
As far as surviving it, I think you have to meet people where they are. Some people just will not change, and they will not be positive, and they will not be a good thing in your life, but you might still have to deal with them. So just do your best to be kind and compassionate and empathetic, and try and see from their point of view why they might be acting the way they act or feeling the way they feel. But don't revert to your old habits. Don't revert to their level. Don't play fire with fire, essentially. Just be yourself and be confident in who you are, and just know there are going to be people who don't accept your change and they don't accept your path, and that's okay, because not everyone is going to agree with everything you do. You're always going to have people who say, oh no, this isn't the real you. You used to be this way, or you think you're too good now because you're this way. And unfortunately, you can't change those people except by being a good example. So just be empathetic, be kind, but be true to yourself. And that's really all you can do.
Yeah, I like that. So really, your family is a good place to have the test, right? This is your graduation test. Can you
Yes.
maintain who you are? Can you be your loving self? Can you stand in your confidence no matter what? And can you love them for who they are and for what they're going to say and not alter yourself? And you can time yourself. I know with my mother, I would maybe make 5 minutes, and then I was able to stretch it to 10 minutes and then 15 minutes until I could finally be around her and not change who I was, right? So
That's
learning
great.
how to stand your ground in every situation, right? That you are who you are, and what other people think of you is really none of your business, even your family, which is difficult, right? Because you want to be loved, you
Yes.
want to be appreciated, you want to be accepted. And so you want people to see the best of you, but that's not necessarily going to happen.
Yes, of course. And like you said, you always want your family's love. You want to be validated. But like I said, you can't force people to see your point of view. You can only be a good example. You can only model what you want from other people. And hopefully they'll learn from you. And if not, again, you just kind of have to meet them where they are and just move on. Just accept them as they are.
So, we talk, your whole thing about building self-confidence and self-love is really the beginning of loving yourself unconditionally. And so, on that end of the scale, when we get through some of the traumas of, oh my God, I'm terrible and whatever, we start to love ourselves. What are some of the steps around that, or what are the ways that you help people reinforce the remembrance that they are lovable, always have been, and always will be? How do you help people at that sort of end of the scale, right, to maintain that?
Yes. So the number one thing is just being a sounding board for people, never judging them, never saying, oh, no, you're wrong to feel that way. A session with a client is a sacred space for them. They should be able to open up and share whatever they need to share and say whatever they need to say without being judged. So that's step one. Any coach should be able to do that. Step two is really just having them do those activities of listing all the things that they love about themselves, learning to be okay when they're alone, out in public, writing those letters to themselves, things like that, where they're just constantly reminding themselves that I am okay as I am. In fact, I am amazing as I am, and there's no one like me in the world. And it's just constant reminders of those good things. And in fact, one great thing that I learned from Louise Hay, her book, Life Loves You, is mirror work. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but you sit in front of a mirror and you look yourself in the eyes and you say, I am worthy of love. I am a great person. I am capable of amazing things. And it's really awkward at first. And in fact, it's really hard at first because you're saying to yourself the things that you wish other people would say to you. But that's the most freeing part. You learn through doing that activity. You have everything you need inside of you. You can validate yourself. You can love yourself. You don't need somebody else to show you those things to be complete. And that's how you learn to build it up and project that onto the world to attract the people who can appreciate those qualities in you.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Louise Hayes and mirror work. I'm work with the technique of clearing toxic emotions, which is, what are those programs that we picked up, from society or the way we were raised, and they're programs that we run unconsciously. So clearing toxic emotions is taking that sort of goo off of our DNA that we've got in our way. And the last part of that is looking in the mirror and loving yourself and forgiving all those that you think did something to you, when in actual fact they were your biggest gift, because they showed up to point out those gifts that you had, that when you owned them, you took them inside yourself and weren't looking for them, like you say, outside yourself anymore. You had this tremendous release of energy that was now your energy, right? And so, there's nothing more stronger to me than the mirror work. And the last exercise in that is really encouraging people to have a warm bath with Epsom salts, and then if they have a full length mirror, to stand in front of the mirror butt naked and do that, right? You love
Yes,
every lump, every bump, every mole, every follicle, everything that, you are a gift to the universe, and there's only you.
exactly.
And so by loving you, guess what? You help other people love themselves, which is really why your program is so powerful and will bring about a lot of change and transformation on the planet. So tell me, do you work just one-on-one, or do you also do group coaching? How do you approach all of this?
So I do mainly one-on-one. I do some workshops every now and then for groups, but I really love that sacred space, like I was talking about, where people just, for the first time, they're sharing things that they've always kept inside. They've never said out loud before until we're in a session together.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something so special about that one-on-one where they can just be themselves and just finally release all of these things that they never thought would ever come to light. And it's just amazing just seeing, it's almost like a physical, like, weight lifted off their shoulders. There's something amazing about just one-on-one. That's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I love that. I also get the intuitive hit, and I'm a coach, so excuse me, I can't help myself. But it seems to me that a group program would be very powerful for your graduates. How do you take this
Mm-hmm.
energy and maintain it in a group? How do you support each other in community to be the best that they can be in every moment? And I can see that like in a mastermind where you maintain
Mm-hmm.
that energy and help them do it collectively, cooperatively, community-wise, and then support
Yeah.
them on a Facebook page and use Facebook in a positive way to build community. So I
Yes.
think that would be a great graduate program that I'd love to send people to, because I think it could be very powerful.
It's crazy that you use the word mastermind, because I actually am creating a mastermind. It's called Conquering Confidence Mastermind. I don't have it launched yet, but it's insane that you actually use that word, because that is my exact plan.
Great. My new mastermind is entrepreneurship for the spiritually gifted, which is about to be launched too. So that's what.
I love that.
Yeah, when we're intuitive, we really don't understand how the whole economic making money, showing up. We're so
Mm.
busy being in service and helping other people learn and grow that we forget that there's money attached to it, right? And
Right.
again, that's a getting out of your own way. Like you said, the beginning of the course would be exactly the same as what you're doing, as self-love. Your confidence and self-worth is reflected by the money in your bank account. I know that sounds terrible, but that's the truth. The more you feel powerful and that you can show up and help people, the more that people recognize you as you're an authority in your own way, and also then pay you the money that you so rightly deserve, which means you can help even more people, and then the upward spiral begins to happen. So it sounds like the two programs are really have a nice interconnection, a nice mesh
Yeah.
between the two, about how to really bring confidence to every part of your life. That this is not
It affects
feeling good. This is making enough money so that you can, well, I use the term, make millions to reach millions. So I know that's a brave thing to say, but why not? I mean, we want to live on a more benevolent planet, so let's get busy. So,
right. Oh, I completely agree.
yeah, so I love what you're doing. So, what else would you like to tell us about this awesome program that you're in the midst of creating, so other people can know about how to get hold of you, and when you're going to launch it?
Next week, actually, I'm putting the finishing touches on, the logistics, like the
Yeah,
website and things like that. It's an exclusive program, so not everyone's going to be a good fit for it, just because
yeah,
it's going to require a lot of digging in deep and a lot of, doing work and being dedicated for, 2 to 3 months.
yeah.
So I'm launching it next week, so I'll post it on my Facebook page, which is Molly Wentzel, Holistic Confidence and Wellness Coach. And my website is coachingwithmolly.com, so you can go there as well. All you have to do is apply. So there's an application where you just answer a few questions, and then we actually set up a call where we can talk one-on-one, where we can kind of get to see if we're a good fit together, and then I'll offer a spot if you're, a good fit and if you're ready to do this work. But it's also on a rolling basis. So since it's one-on-one, that's the advantage. You don't have to wait for 10 other people to sign up so the group is full. We're working one-on-one. So as soon as we accept each other and we're ready to go, you get going. You don't wait for, 10 other people to join. So that's a really big advantage.
So do you have any modules for this? Like, have you done any video modules, or is it all one-on-one?
It is all one-on-one, but I have each module entirely written out, exactly what we're going to focus on, exactly what questions I ask, and exactly what activities you'll be doing in between your next session. And maybe in the future, I will make it a group program if I see fit, and if I can make it work, with pre-recorded videos and things like that. But as of right now, one-on-one is definitely the way I'm going. And I think that's definitely going to be a way that people are going to get the most value out of it right now.
Wow, that's really, really exciting. So I'd like to invite you over to the Wellness Show on Facebook, and also when you're ready to launch, please put all the links in there as well, right? And if you do have, do you have the link now? Like, do you have the link for the program? Because if you could send it to, we could put it in the show notes as well. But if you don't, put it.
Yeah.
You do have it for the show notes? Great.
Yeah, it's just gonna be coachingwithmolly.com, and that's where it's all gonna be.
Okay, so it's going to be straightforward when you're on the page how you can. Okay, great, fantastic. So we got a few minutes to go. We actually got about 4 minutes. So how can we use this time effectively? What I really liked is you really went through some really exciting, straightforward tips for people on this call so they really can get started. So do you have any more hot tips to help people get focused and get on the way to get ready to work with Molly?
That is a great question. I think because it's not for everybody, if you are considering joining this program, I would take a day or two to really self-reflect. What do you want to get out of the program? Because success is different for everybody. For me, it was changing my job and starting my own business and being able to help other people feel the same way I feel. For somebody else, it could just be learning to deal with their family, like you said, or it could be dealing with unhealthy relationships. So really just figuring out, what exactly do you even want? Because a lot of people don't know the answer to that question. I think really just sitting in silence and doing a lot of self-reflecting and figuring out what hasn't been working for you, why do you feel the way you feel, and where you want to go is going to be huge in determining your path. It could be working in my program. It could be working with a different coach. It could be just going a completely different direction altogether. But something is out there for everybody. You and every single person out there has the capability of gaining confidence, of loving themselves, and of having a life that they are proud of and can be happy with. It's just a matter of, are you willing to dig in deep and do the work? So even though my program might not be appropriate for everybody at this time, maybe 3 months from now you'll be ready, maybe 6 months from now you'll be ready, or really you just have to figure out, what do I need and when do I need it and how can I get this done? But it is always a possibility. So do not let your fear hold you back. Do not let your low confidence hold you back, and just go out there and get what you need and what you deserve.
Well, Molly, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and best luck with the program. How many spaces do you have available for people? Do you have a limited?
I do. I'm only taking 5 at the moment because I have other private clients and other people. So as of right now, it's just 5.
Right. So you better get busy. If you can relate to Molly, and this is the course for you, there's only 5 spots, so you need to sign up pretty darn quick. All right, Molly, it was great talking to you, and all the best in this program, and we'll be in touch. Bye for now.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye.
Hi, this is Tyson Bannigan. I'd just like to welcome to you a brand new program called Entrepreneurship for the Spiritually Gifted. Now, if you're an empath or wellness provider that's focused on reaching more clients and extending your ability to provide service, but you're not getting the return on your investment that you would like, in other words, you're not making the money that you'd like, then Entrepreneurship for the Spiritually Gifted is a mastermind program that I encourage you to become part of. This will be a small group. We will meet once a week, and we'll help each other get past those barriers so we can serve more clients. So the motto for the program is make millions to reach millions. And I hope you'll join me. If you'd like to have more information, then please send me an email to Tyson, Tyson, @me.com. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.